Hey guys, welcome to another week with Bob and Chris. This week it's a busy week for everybody. Spring is here, and you know, Chris and I actually did do a webinar earlier in the week, and or was it
Yeah.
last week? I don't even know anymore.
No, it was this week.
It was this week.
It was this week. Yeah.
It was this week. But
Yeah.
one of the things I want to talk about this week, Chris, was we're talking in the green room, and a lot of people think IT is cheap. Think cybersecurity should just be cheap, and we're hearing that we're hearing people say, "Well, that's too expensive." And
Yeah.
right now, I think I looked in the paper yesterday. I saw eggs were on sale at $8 a dozen, which is more than twice of what they should have been some time ago. So things are more expensive.
I haven't seen $8 a dozen, but I mean, I don't buy organics, so maybe that's your problem.
I don't know. These were just in the sale paper. Anyway,
Oh, damn. Okay.
we got prospects. We talk to prospects all the time, and they come back. We both hear it. This is too expensive. How can you do it cheaper? What should we be doing? People don't have the right mindset, or don't understand.
Yeah. And a lot of what we do obviously is education, right? So we're trying to educate people all the time. Like, hey, like these are threats that are in your business, stuff like that. But like at the end of the day, when you start talking to executives, it comes back down to money, right? Like what do you have to lose? And depending on your organization, it's different. So, can you afford 3 days of downtime if you determine in your business, like what's a day of downtime actually cost you? And even if you know that number, what's the ancillary pieces of that? Contracts, rebates because you missed deadlines? Like what else is there to downtime for you, and what does it cost you? Can your business survive it? If you're down for 3 days, like let's say you get hit with ransomware, one of the biggest things we say is, well, we'll just pay the ransom, or we got backup, we'll recover. Have you ever done that? Do you know how long it's going to take you to recover?
I talked to somebody this week, and they're like, "What do you mean recover? Test the backup data." I was like, "Yeah." But yeah, the cost of downtime, even inconvenience for the users, even if it's not a total outage. I had a call. I had somebody reach out, a client's receptionist reach out the other day because she was having problems running stuff through her printer. And I'm like, okay, well, we just got to replace the printer. Well, Tom's not going to accept that. Okay, I'll go talk. I went in. I said, we got three printers here. I said, they're from 2012. I don't think they owe you anything. And it's costing you, and it's costing her 20 minutes every time she tries to print an envelope. Okay, replace the printer. I met him where he needed to be.
Right. You explained it in the language that he needed to hear it, and we obviously we see threats out there all the time with our customers. We see things like I'm dealing with a couple issues right now with some current customers, and it's just like one of the other objections, cyber insurance, right? They'll just pay for it. Well, what are we seeing? We're seeing that they're putting prescriptive controls in place that you have to have. Like you have to be doing, like any admin accounts on your network has to have MFA, multi-factor authentication, to even do anything. Any privileged accounts.
Actually, I've seen accounts that said they want MFA everywhere. It didn't limit it to admin accounts.
No, I've seen that too. But like specifically local network stuff, like historically we saw like, email, stuff like that, like remote access, whatever, like people, that's been historic, but now it's getting it down to the local accounts, and it's, they're prescribing it. They're saying, hey, we're not going to cover it. I'm dealing with a manufacturer right now who got rejected. They got rejected for cyber insurance renewal because their controls are non-existent. So, but the problem that you have in that situation is you go in and you talk to them and you're like, you're trying to be honest with them, but like, if you can't talk to executives, it really is an uphill battle. Like if you can't talk to the true risk owner in the business, it's an uphill battle. And if they don't want to hear it, and, depending on the size of the company, this is a bigger company. So, they have multiple layers of management and things like that. If we deal with a smaller company, obviously we could probably get to the business owner, right? So who's going to be the ultimate risk owner?
I kind of view cyber insurance just like my health insurance. I'd really rather not have to use it.
Or when you try to use it, it's a pain in the ass to try to use it, right?
Right.
They want to reject everything, put you through a bunch of hoops, and before they
reject everything, and even with cyber insurance, you are going to have a business interruption.
Oh, absolutely. What if they bring a forensics team in and they seize all your PCs for 2 weeks? What's your plan? Do you have extra PCs sitting there ready to go?
No,
Most
and during
people
COVID,
don't.
you couldn't even get replacement PCs.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. That's another story. But even now, like if you rapidly had to get them, like realistically, how quickly are you gonna get them? Is it gonna be a day? Is it gonna be 2 days? Like if you were to go out and actually, let's say you're a larger organization. Let's say you had to go out, and by larger, I mean still small business, but maybe you got to buy 300 PCs. How long is it gonna take you? It's not gonna take a day. It's probably gonna take 3 days. That's 3 days of not being able to work.
And I doubt you can source 300 identical PCs here from anybody.
Oh, dude, you ain't trying to source 300 identical PCs in that time frame. You're buying whatever you can get, right?
Yeah. So now we're going to have a hodgepodge of stuff in your in the office environment that is going to open up other issues.
And not only that, do you have imaging in place? Can you even image these when they come in? So now that's time. So I think the problem that we have is like there's an unrealistic expectation that, hey, if we pay the ransom, unless we get the key, and a lot of times, like I think what people don't understand is you might only get back maybe 60% of the data from the keys, because there could be some bug in the decryption model or whatever. But even if it's not ransomware, let's take ransomware off the table.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about reputational risk. I think it's a good one to talk about. If you're the CEO of a company or the owner, and somebody hacks into your email and sends out just abhorrent things to your customer base or posts on your social media, are you coming back from that? Can your brand survive that?
Are you going to use everybody else, they'll say.
Yeah. Is that going to be an excuse? And we know that like when people get hit with that stuff, it doesn't just disappear tomorrow. There may be another news story tomorrow, but those people, the stuff that was said, it's going to linger. Not only that, what if they get into your email and then they fire half your company? They send out an email saying that they're fired, and the people are so irritated that they just walk off the job, and even if you apologize, they won't come back. Or what if the CFO gets hit? What if it's a financial situation where the CFO's email gets compromised and then a bunch of money gets stolen and transferred out? Can you survive that?
And so to back up for a second, you talk about you talk about just the press related to it. We still have a client that we got back in 2014 who had a data breach. They had to report it everywhere. It still comes up when prospects are doing their due diligence, and that's, what was it, 9 years ago? Not 9 years ago. They had actually basically just had an FTP server online that was misconfigured, and
there's no statute of limitation for configuration problems. When you delete data, there's no statute of limitations. That's news, and that's going to be news forever.
And it had to be reported in 50 states because it had data from 50 states in it. And like I said, it still comes up to haunt people, even though it was technically it was somebody that was trying to save the company a few dollars by backing up to an FTP server that they put up at their house.
Yeah, I mean, let's take example LastPass. Look at the reputational hit they've taken.
Yeah,
and they don't just sell to one industry. So if you break it down, let's say they sell to businesses, they sell to individuals, right? So they have a large customer. They have a large customer base. They can spread that across multiple things. However, think about your business. If your brand is damaged that bad, how many customers make up 80% of your data or 80% of your revenue? I mean,
well,
and if you lost some of those, what does that mean?
Just talking about reputation, sitting on the reputation piece. Our call this week, the webinar we did this week in the Q&A, one of the persons asked specifically about LastPass, and they actually said, "I'm getting off of LastPass." Yeah. We talked about why, some good reasons for things that they did right. But all this guy heard was the negative stuff, and he goes, "I'm getting rid of it."
Yep. Which
you can't fix that.
No, and we can talk till we're dead about like, is that a way to, like, if we talk about companies like that, like every time somebody has a breach or somebody has like a security incident, we just leave them, we're going to run our companies real quick. But the way that you respond is almost as important as what you did proactively, right? So if proactively you had everything in place and you can say that and you respond with, hey, look, we had all this in place, but you know what? We found gaps. This breach, this incident showed gaps, and now we've taken these additional steps to resolve that. See, I think that's where LastPass did the right thing, where they had every time something came out, they put out, this is what we've changed in our security, and they still got owned. But I think, long term, I think LastPass is going to be fine. But yeah, obviously short term, they're taking quite the reputational hit. But at least their customer, they can sell to anybody. Whereas, like, let's say you're in manufacturing, you might have limited customers you can sell to based on what your product is.
Absolutely.
So that reputational hit for you might be death, or it's going to substantially impact you for years.
So we've rambled on from being too expensive to cyber insurance to everything.
Pay the ransom.
Reputation.
Should you pay the ransom? Yep.
And should I pay the ransom? So what should people be doing today, Chris?
I think we should just all turn our computers off and just take after the Amish and just go back to pencil and paper. That seems relevant.
Well, if it was going to be a nice day in New Jersey, I would actually say that I could take the Beagle out for a couple miles in the woods. She would like that.
I think it's like anything else in life. Like, we have to be prepared. So we have to plan for when things go bad. We have to plan for that. We have to hope for the best, but honestly, we have to plan for the worst. I hate to say that, but that's the truth. Look at your organization, figure out what you got to do, figure out who your threats are, figure out what they could get from you, what is the impact on the business, and put a dollar amount to it. And if you can't put a dollar amount to that, you need to talk to people that can help you with that. And that may be IT, it may not be, because it depends on what business impact is inside, what it is in the business. You may have to talk to somebody else about risk. It might be an enterprise risk situation. So, but I
think what Chris is really leading to here is you really need to do a risk assessment to understand what your cyber risk is and where that risk is in your business, because there's things that you don't know in your business. And I know Chris is working with somebody right now who doesn't even know where some of their resources are. And if they had a risk assessment, at least they have a better starting point from knowing what they got. So reach out to both of us here, via email. I know we haven't dropped email links, comments in here, but I'm Bob at metromsp.com. And your address?
Oh, I don't want to drop my email on a public forum. No, I'm just kidding. It's chris.burns at techiegurus.com or at yourcyberteam.com. Either one will come to me. But I want to leave you with this. If you're a business owner, if you're executive, be involved. Don't try to pawn this off to your IT team. This is not an IT issue. This is an organizational issue. IT is part of it, but at the heart of it, what's the business impact of this? And I just want you to remember that and focus on that.
So it's always about the business. It's not, we don't do IT to do IT.
No.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week, and we will probably continue this rant next week.
Oh, I could rant on this every day. So